Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in the Swedish Tier 9 medium tank, the Udes 16. This is a tank that I really quite enjoy. It's just like the Tier 8, I enjoy it. A lot of people don't. A lot of the reason people don't enjoy it is down to the pneumatic suspension that the Swedish tanks have. And I think it gets a little bit of a bad rap from when they first came out, in that it used to bobble a hell of a lot. Don't get me wrong, it still does wobble a wee bit. But, like there, where the suspension sets up, that gun used to shoot right up into the air. So that little bobble it did is all it did. For now. Whereas it used to just really shoot up in the air and then it'd screw up everything. It'd also screw up your aim time, where your bloom would become massive just because the gun shifted for some reason. And that was just a right pain in the ass. But they adjusted it, they fixed it after they brought them in, and it was like, okay, this is manageable now. I actually quite like this. And the Tier 8, I really did. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed hitting people for 360. I enjoyed the mobility of it. The camo rating of these tanks is also fantastic. So, for the most part, I found them enjoyable. So, like, this tank has got 390 alpha. It's got like 230 penetration on its standard rounds and like 260 on its prem. The shell velocity it's got isn't all that good. It's about 1,100, which is not great for APCR, but it's manageable. But it's one of those things, like, I just really like the tank because its mobility is nice, like I say. The gun depression at 14 degrees with this suspension is also amazing, right? And they kind of have armour as well. The Tier 8 doesn't have any armour, that's for certain. But once you get to this Tier 9, this turret is really good if you get yourself full down. And it's got the sort of weird angled armour as well that can pull off miracle ricochets quite a lot of the time. And as well as that, you saw me do it against the AMX-30. It can pull off a bit of side scraping here and there, although you've really got to watch the calibre of the guns. Because I believe it's 40mm of side armour, which means if you're facing anything with 120mm calibre gun or less, then you can side scrape it. But if you're looking at like the Russians with 122s, 130s and stuff like that, you aren't going to side scrape it because they'll overmatch your side. But yeah, the auto ricochet angles on these tanks as well is amazing. That's what's so good as well. Just because when you need the armour to kind of work, or you can pull off a miracle bounce, it saves your ass quite a lot. So this game on Abbey has gone by pretty quickly. The enemy team is going down, and we made use of that middle area as best we could. We loaded HE for the turret of the waffle, but unfortunately he's running away, and the HE shell flew miles away from the T-54 lightweight. We shoot him in the side, and obviously light tank tracks just absorb it, because why not? And then we get pretty lucky that we don't get one shot really by the M53-55. Because I was saying about the auto ricochet angles that this thing has, right? Its lower plate is quite big, and it does have like no armour on its lower plate. So it's quite likely that you're going to get penned in it. Now, we ignored the T-54 lightweight there because Turkey was like, I can get this light tank, and I had HE in, so I wasn't guaranteed I would actually probably roll high enough to kill the T-54 lightweight with HE, funnily enough, so I just ignored him and went for the waffle. And we ended up getting a nice roll on him anyway with it. And we're just going to wait for the reload to go in before we can finish off this waffle. Again, I know I can take the hit if I do go around, so it was a calculated risk. And there we go, the Andre shoots us and doesn't actually pen us, and that's the sort of stuff that this tank seems to pull off. Now, with him not penning me there, makes me think that possibly actually it could be more than 40mm of side armour. It's something I've never really truly looked at. With the Swedish mediums, I kind of just looked at them and went, you know what, they've got no armour, so I'm going to play it like it's got no armour, And the pen on the drive wheel of that Andre the Giant as well let me down on the standard rounds, which is why I switched to premium, because it just wouldn't go through the drive wheel and track and pen. So we ended up finishing that game with an ace tank, a Confederate medal. It wasn't an outstanding game, but we were horrendously bottom tier. And it was me, Turkey, and McLogo in that game. But then we're on to this game, and I did forget to hit record right at the start, so that's why we've come into this game about 45 seconds in. But absolutely nothing's happened. And it's Heilbronn Assault, and we're with Swindle in the platoon as well. And we're going to see what we can do on Assault. Now this is one of those one of those game modes on this map that sometimes you can just pull off amazing amounts of sort of spotting or damage. So like this position we're in at the minute when we're assaulting is really good because you can get good shots across, well, as you can see, you get it across all the lines. You get good lines of sight across everywhere. Of course, if you get spotted on here, it's quite an open spot, but if you can pull back, it's alright. So we're just going to charge forward because nothing seems to be pushing out, because this is a problem with Heilbronn Assault for when you're defending. It's sometimes the teams just do not push out of the town, which is probably the worst thing they can do, because that means you can just surround the town and just wreck everything in it. And that's what their team seems to be doing. So we decided, you know what, we've got to move forward, because we're not going to get anything done up here. We're getting spotted by the guy that was down below, and that meant that anything that was camping out down there, they're easily going to see us and shoot us. And again, we are just moving around, and we're not seeing anything. So the more we're not seeing things, the more we're pushing forward. But there's that 1-2-1. And he can be a little bit of a problem. I've realised I may have overextended a little bit, especially with him there. Because the 1-2-1 does have fantastic DPM. And the reload on the Swedish mediums isn't all that good, really, for 390. Like, he reloads probably 1.5 shells for every shell I fire, you know. So he could have wrecked us quite easily if he decided to focus us, but he just ignored us or was completely oblivious to us, even though we shot him, you know. And we're going to get some nice shots at the C50 now. And you saw the pneumatic suspension, like, activate there, and you see just how much gun depression this thing gets. It's fantastic. I really do love the gun depression on these Swedish mediums. And the pneumatic suspension works, really, to be honest, on these Swedish mediums really nicely, just because of the way the tanks are designed and the way they are, or the way they are with the silhouettes and stuff like that, and how low to the ground they are. Which is why I don't think it necessarily works on the STB1, because I just don't feel the tank, with its model and the way it is, kind of works with it. You don't have any durability, which I don't know. I just don't think the pneumatic suspension works on this STB1 without any other changes to it. But with the Swedish mediums, it does work quite a treat, to be honest. And we're now getting to farm the M103's butt very nicely. Easy shots for us. He's ignoring us. We've got his ass, and we're just going to shut him down. And then move on to these guys in front of us. So we've got an Andre the Giant who we want to put some nice shots into. Nice shot into his side, damages Amarak. Tried to avoid, I was hoping to all hell there that guy didn't keep driving back, because he could have quite easily pushed us over that edge. But we managed to finish him off. That IS-7 isn't worth looking at, because we're in the open. That T-10 is above us as well. And that I-7's kind of an awkward pen from where we were, but now we're a bit more in safe cover. We're going to try. And it, luckily for us, flies straight in ahead of him, or straight in, sorry. We are spotting him as well, so that's our assistance, that fire, which is nice. But, again, like I say, he's in a position that's kind of awkward. We were kind of lucky to pen the first one. So we're just going to move into the town now. And there is still a lot of things that are unspotted. So we want to try and, well, I just want to try and get as much damage as we can, really. But we've got to be careful because, well, there's the T-10 who, again, is ignoring us. A nice shot into the back of his turret, breaks his Amarak. But like I say, now we've been looked at, and it's like, okay, And there's the bouncers again. With, auto ricochet angles, bounce the IS-7 easily. Unfortunately, auto aim the shot on the T10 and it bounces, which is kind of unlucky, but at the same time, if we'd aimed it, we probably would have killed him. He's stopped, by the way. You can tell by the muzzle brake on his tank that T10 had the IS-3 gun on it. But anyway, we shut him down and we're now moving on. We've got some nice shots into the waffle, but obviously, unfortunately, the shot goes into the floor. And the IS-7 shoots us in the turret and breaks our gun. Like I say, the armour is quite forgiving on this tank. On the tier 8, there is no armour. It's not forgiving. It's definitely a sniper tank. But you can play this tank a lot more aggressively than you can the tier 8. And I really do enjoy this tier 9. The tier 10 is the same. It's hard hitting. It's got troll armour, and I think it's just very enjoyable to use. The only thing about it is the fact that the gun is kind of derpy, but that's the way it is. So we lost the kill on that Death Star then, just because of awkwardness with the dead tank models. And then we got shot in the side by the E4, which is not optimal. But we're going to try and snipe the cupola of the E4, but unfortunately it just flies above. The E4's fired now, so we know we can safely wait for the reload and pop a shot into the top of his cupola. And there's a TD coming round on our left, which is why we are ploughing forward, because we want to try and get away from this guy. And I have driven in front of the TD over there, but at the same time I've got away from him as well. And that other TD is going to come round and give us a big slap him, which he does. Which probably should have reacted a little bit quicker there, but the Gorilla managed to get a horrible shot into us, unfortunately. And as we're getting out of the danger zone, we're trying not to aim a shot at the Gorilla and we miss, which is a shame. But we have no hit points to play back with. But we've got the turret armor, so I thought, we'll try and pop a shot. But unfortunately, again, we miss as we tried to snap the shot on the Gorilla. And I'm thinking maybe he's moved, he's turned around to be looking at me, so I've got to be careful here. But as it turns out, he hasn't. I was expecting him to come charging down the alleyway and come pop a shot at me, but he doesn't. We shoot the HE round into the back of the Gorilla, 470. This TD's coming round. Swindle shuts him down, thankfully, saves our bacon. And again, I was expecting him to have turned around, but he's just not. He's just ignored me. We're going to try. We're hoping we can get the kill or get an extra shot to push into 6k. And we do. We can get 6.3k damage now. The 279 he missed, but we managed to shoot him. But he's just determined to run away, and the Death Star shuts him down. So we ended that game with 4 kills, 6.3k damage and 2.1k assistance. So nearly 8.5k combined in the tier 9 Swedish tier 9 medium tank. I said tier 9 twice there. But yeah, it's a tank that I enjoy for all the reasons I've outlined. It's kind of enjoyable, to be honest. And you can be quite stealthy with it as well. You can hide quite nicely because of the camo rating, which is excellent on all these Swedish mediums. 26 shots, 20 hits, and the rest of pens. It's pretty good going for this gun as well. It is slightly inaccurate, but generally it's very reliable and it's very enjoyable tank to play. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.